But let's start with the good news today, because the countdown to Chandrayaan 3's landing has begun. Less than 48 hours to go now. Chandrayaan 3 to complete the final lap within the next 45 hours. 6 p.m. around 6 p.m. on 6:04 to be exact on Wednesday. The landing will begin from 5:20 p.m. and the landing on the moon to be completed in about 44 minutes. So all eyes now on the skies and what happens in the next 48 hours. Lots of excitement meanwhile at Isro as the final countdown to Chandrayaan 3's landing begins. The lander module has established contact with the orbiter. The Vikram lander, inching closer to the moon, will begin a powered descent on the 23rd. Isro has made some changes to ensure that this time the landing is a success. India Today is tracking Chandrayaan 3's journey live. Here's the very latest.
The Indian Space Research Organization has successfully reduced the orbit of the Chandrayaan 3 mission's lander module Vikram on Sunday. Vikram is on its own journey towards the lunar surface now. Equipped with 4 landing legs and 4 landing thrusters of 800 newtons of force each, Vikram is designed for a soft landing on the moon. It carries within it a rover named Pragyan. Chandrayaan 3 is largely a replica of its predecessor Chandrayaan 2. Chandrayaan 2 was launched in July 2019 in the form of an orbiter and a lander Vikram bearing a rover Pragyan. Vikram entered into orbit around the moon, but the surface mission failed in September 2019. The lander Vikram crashed instead of executing a slow descent. Isro later identified a problem. Based on it this time, Isro has strengthened the lander's legs, lowered its minimum thrust, enhanced the availability of power, and upgraded the landing sequence to a soft landing. The Vikram lander is currently traveling at about 25 kilometers above the lunar surface at a speed of 6,000 kilometers per hour. From this, it needs to come down to a speed of 1 meter per second within seconds. It then further needs to make a sharp 90-degree turn as it starts moving away from its orbit. Isro will need to make some major adjustments at very quick, almost breakneck speeds. To achieve a successful landing, Chandrayaan 3 has lander hazard detection and avoidance cameras that will be used to coordinate with the orbiter and mission control as the lander makes its careful descent approach to the surface of the moon. Vikram, the lander module, also carries Laser Retroreflector Array or LRA. It would carry out a passive experiment to understand the dynamics of the moon system. Once the soft landing is achieved, the rover Pragyan will be deployed on the lunar surface on the South Pole to carry out its own research to find evidence of water molecules.
So we are going to measure it for the first time. What is the kind of profile that will be existing? So you have a probe that will be inserted into the lunar regolith. We will penetrate up to around 10 centimeter for probing. Actually 14 centimeter including the tip. The tip will be actually aiding us to penetrate. So 10 centimeter of the lunar surface will be probed. Temperature will be measured, and basically it will give you the conductivity. This regolith can be a building block for future space bases, lunar bases.
Chandrayaan 3 is the third installment of the Chandrayaan series and represents India's second attempt to achieve a soft landing on the moon's surface. So far, only 3 countries have successfully landed spacecraft on the airless lunar world. Failure of the recent Russian moon mission has put the limelight back on India's Chandrayaan 3.
And joining me now is Dr. Amitabha Ghosh, space scientist, former Mars exploration rover mission from NASA. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Ghosh. The next 45 hours, are they now the critical hours, or do you believe that all is well and we should be at this time on Wednesday celebrating?
Well, it is very hard to say. If you look at my career, I have seen so many ups and downs. So the first mission that I witnessed was a failure. The second was a success. The third was a success. The fourth was a failure. The fifth was a failure. The sixth onwards was a success. See, this is an engineering mission. There are failure points, and it is very hard to predict. You know, if you look at Luna 25, the Russians were best at this game. They were into space before the Americans were. If you remember 1961 Sputnik, they had the capability. No, they had a rover which would explore the moon for 1 year. Why significant? Because they would survive the lunar night. They did not succeed. You know, nothing is guaranteed. All we know is no matter what happens, life will go on. And
But is this
Dr.
Ghosh the most in a way the most complex maneuver? This last stretch, is that the most complex, or are most of the difficult maneuvers over?
No, this is the most complex. So imagine the hazard avoidance cameras or the ground detection camera. They detect the ground, but they miscalculate by even 10 meters or 100 meters. So what will happen? It will slow down, assuming that the ground is here, but the ground is actually here. So at this point, the velocity would be near zero, and then it would again accelerate. Then there may be rocks wherever it's trying to land. So there are possibilities, you know, we have encountered in our Mars missions that, you know, this is the toughest part. We call it the 7 minutes of terror for a Mars mission. So this is really the hardest part.
You know, there are those, of course, who are saying that Chandrayaan 3 incorporates what is being called the salvage mode, which will ensure a successful event in case of unforeseen circumstances. So just give us a sense of what are these unforeseen circumstances? You mentioned one just now, but what, according to you, are those unforeseen circumstances, and how confident should we be that we now are in a better place than we were with Chandrayaan 2?
So I'm not in the mission team, so I wouldn't be able to tell you a lot, but I'll tell you what are the general failure points. See, so these are 4 legs, right? What if it doesn't land on the 4 legs? What if there is a damage of a leg? What if there is a rock and it lands and it is kind of tilted? What if it really did not, the retro rockets did not kick in at the right time? So there are multiple things, but you know, I think based on what happened to Chandrayaan 2, I think Isro and the chairman and everybody has come and repeatedly assured that, you know, the engineering is perfect now. So I would expect a successful landing.
In that sense, could this be a coming of age moment? The fact is that four nations of India will be the 4th nation after the US, Russia, and China to do this.
Yes.
You know, this really is, we are on the cusp of history.
Yes. The reason why this is so important, it is not about Chandrayaan 3. It is about delivering this capability to land on another planet or another moon. That is really the crux. If you do this, maybe the next step would be landing on Mars. Maybe the next step would be landing on an asteroid. Maybe it might be going back to the moon. Maybe it might be going to Venus. So it just opens up a lot of possibilities. It's a development of capability, which is so fascinating about the mission.
You know, just a concluding word. ISRO scientists at the moment aren't opening themselves up to the media. They must be predictably nervous, and you know, we're wishing them well and hoping everything goes on smoothly. But as someone who's dealt with these missions, success and failure, give us a sense of what this means for the scientists who will be there at the moment, watching every little move of what is happening in this last stretch.
It is very hard. So, you know, you have to really steel yourself. As I told you, in my life, I've seen 3 failures. And, you know, everything that you worked for is destroyed. So you have to be very strong mentally. And then you have to think that, well, no matter what, tomorrow life is going to go on. Even if it's a success, there'll be huge euphoria. You know, when Mars Pathfinder landed, you know, we did not know what to do with the time. There were so many people interested in the mission. But when the Mars climate orbiter died, then everybody said, well, I mean, what are you guys doing? So, you know, you have to balance, and you have to think as a scientist, your life will go on, your venture will go on. This is just another step. Tomorrow everything will be okay, no matter what happens.
Well, we hope that tomorrow will be great. Day after tomorrow will be even better. This could be 48 hours, 45 hours when India's remarkable space scientists are about to script a slice of history. Dr. Ghosh, for giving us a bit of your inside track on what it means these last 48 hours. I appreciate you joining me there. Thank you so much.